Wait.
I'm about to say.
You ready?
Yes.
I thought you were on the hold.
I know. You tried. That's what matters. But I got this from here.
All right, so we're here with the amazing Kai Lightner. I've known him since he was like a little kid, which in my mind now I think you're like, I don't know, I think you're close to 30, but you're not, you're 24.
Yeah.
Yeah, so.
I'm not 30 yet.
No, you're not 30 yet. And I remember you being this like cute little kid, goofy with these glasses on and at the competitions and like showing the older generation already like how good you are. So you're this cute little mommy's boy. Maybe you're still a mommy's boy. I don't know.
Definitely still a mommy's boy.
But a badass climber and not someone that's like 5'9", 5'10", you know, that weighs 150 pounds. Like he is an outlier, in my opinion, in the climbing industry, which is so cool to see, especially on like little tiny crimps. So for those that may not know who you are, which I don't think that's many, but tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, well, I guess I've been competitively climbing since I was 6 years old. I've been doing, 6 years old, huh? I'm old.
Long time.
I feel old. I've won youth and adult nationals many times, I guess.
Too many to count.
I used to do youth competitions, and I have won youth worlds and won 5 other medals during my time there. Competed on the World Cup circuit for quite a bit, and as of recently, I've been more focused on outdoor climbing, and so I've been climbing some 514, 515 routes lately, and yeah, I feel
you've been killing it on the routes, especially, which is so impressive to watch. And I mean, I just love the way you move, especially when you're sport climbing, and your knees. Getting into some of those drop knees that you get, you're like, I mean, it makes me a little scared because I've had 2 ACL reconstructions and I'm just like, oh my God, my legs are hurting. But it's like, I'm so excited to get into your mobility routine later because I know you have some like cool secrets on that, and maybe I can get a little bit more limber too.
I was about to say, flexibility is always a good thing. I feel like you can never not be too flexible. But I think also a really important thing that y'all should know is that like Alex has always been so nice to me. As a kid, when I was coming up, like I started doing adult competitions really young, and there was this stigma against like youth kids competing in open. Like a lot of times when I was first doing it, because of what I was doing outside, they would like lower the age limit to allow me to compete, which was not in my control. Like I wasn't doing it. They would just invite me, but because of that, there was a lot of controversy about that being a thing.
Well, okay, I didn't have to compete against you, so that could be one reason.
That is true. That is true, but a lot of people didn't voice their criticisms lightly. And I didn't always feel like I belonged in the spaces because sometimes I wouldn't have felt like I belonged. So like people like you who were really nice to me in ISO and like made me feel welcome, like I really appreciated it.
Anyone that like didn't want you there, they were just scared and they were jealous and they were like, oh, this little kid. Maybe I'm feeling that a little bit now. The older I got and doing some competitions, I'm like, oh dang, all these like kids are here. Like I want it a little easier now. But no, I think it's really cool, and this is what helps our sport improve and get better.
Yeah, and I feel like my perspective now being an adult climber is I feel like when you're a true fan of the sport, watching it grow and progress and watching the athlete progress is always a win, whether you're a part of that wave or not.
I am excited to see what your career, like you're already a pioneer of the sport, and you know, you're opening up spaces for even like with people of color and everything else, and I think that's so cool. And I want to dive in later in this episode about like how you felt growing up, you know, and not having a lot of people that necessarily like looked like you and what that felt like. So
I'd love to.
Well, I'm excited for this episode, and we're gonna have some fun today.
Yes, we are.
Why does this orange look kind of hard? What is up with that orange?
It's the hold is so spread out.
Is this a starting hold here?
Yeah. What does it say?
Which hand?
I would guess right hand. Okay. Nice. Yeah. Nice. Yeah.
It's not the best hold.
I would say, you good?
Yeah.
Okay. Nice. Yeah.
I was trying to climb like Kai a little bit, and then it backfired. Look at that. He's like 3/4 the height of the wall.
That is true.
All right, Kai, so break down what your typical warm-up routine looks like.
I guess starting from when I walk through the door, I usually focus a lot on like warming up my joints. So I'll do like jump roping or like
You jump rope?
Or maybe a little, yeah, I used to jump rope all the time as a kid. Like something with cardio, you know, like whether it's like a short stint on the treadmill, like something to get everything moving. And then I'll go and start doing like mobility stuff. So I start stretching out my joints, making sure my hips are open.
How long like would you spend on your mobility? Because obviously we know you're really flexible,
Yeah.
and I've seen glimpses of it, and it's not like a quick 3-minute little thing.
No, I usually will spend like 20 minutes,
Okay.
like in the beginning, just making sure everything is loose. And usually I try to do some form of active stretching so that I'm not like losing any strength when it's time to go on the wall. But yeah, like I feel like that's really important for me because I use flexibility so much in my climbing.
Oh, yeah.
That like not having it open, having my options open, like I would feel the difference. I think that having an established warm-up routine is like imperative to like not only building like the skill sets, but also just preventing the injuries, because I feel like the more options you have on the wall, the better, right? And I feel like people underestimate how having flexibility gives you more control over your center of gravity, what position you have on the wall, which like makes the options limitless for like how you can do movement.
Be creative. You were really creative on the wall.
Well, I feel like I have to be because I'm so tall. But I feel like not everybody is, like Puccio strong, and so you have to be able to like open the door to the options that are available to you on the wall. And I feel like mobility is the easiest way to do that.
Nice. So, okay, you get like your blood going, you have some jump roping or a little bit of cardio, then you do like 20 minutes-ish of mobility work and stretching.
Yeah.
Like, and then what do you do after that? Do you just jump on hard climbs, or do you do fingerboard? What do you do?
I usually do like some resistance bands for my shoulders and stuff, like real quick, for like 3 minutes, and then yeah, usually I'll hop on the wall. Like I didn't really do hangboarding much as a kid. I don't know why. I think actually, funny enough, I think my first gym didn't really have hangboards like that.
Okay.
I think it was just climbing, and so that's how I grew up. And as I got older, I just never felt like I needed it. Like even now, like I've just started doing some hangboarding exercises because like just looking forward to maybe some future projects. Even though like I haven't really had a routine before, now that I've started doing it, like I pick it up quickly because the fundamentals were there.
That's crazy.
What I do with everything else with climbing, and so it just didn't take that long. I don't know.
It's impressive.
I think it's because I started so young.
Yeah.
Like if my fingers and tendons hadn't built and evolved to the sport, I don't know if that would have came as quickly.
You wouldn't just jump into it and already be as good as you are on like doing hangboard stuff. So after you do the shoulders and you get on, and do you like to start with like easier climbs and like work your way up?
100%.
Okay.
I usually will start, like easy as possible, just warming up my joints, and then I usually will go based upon how I feel. So like if I'm having a creaky day, then the warm up will be a little slower. But if I feel really fresh and strong, then like I might just jump to something a little bit like more at my level at that moment. But I usually just, I gauge most things based upon just how I feel. Like I'm really intuitive with my body, and so it usually works out.
So smooth. I like how you were like, I'm gonna use all the holes, when I'm pretty sure you could have just like grabbed that last big one and like stood up to the top. But you're like, nah, I want to like do the extra moves, even if I don't have to do the extra moves.
It's the warm up,
I like it.
You gotta do as many moves as possible.
Like, I need to work a little bit of that endurance right now while I'm bouldering. I need to get like all the moves in. I can't just like...
Well, I'm a lead climber first and foremost, so the more moves the better.
Now getting more and more into sport climbing during this time where it's like easier on my body, I find that like making moves as easy as possible is so nice. Like, it's like, yeah, maybe you can power through something, but is it gonna like really be the most effective way? No. Like, just because you have the muscles doesn't mean you need to use them 100% all the time.
I think that's so funny because growing up, I feel like you were notorious for the opposite. Remember back in the day? I remember we watched Alex be like, she knows she's like the strongest woman in the world, and she knows that no one else can do it this way, so why is she doing it this way?
I remember learning that too. I'm like, if I am falling because it feels too hard and I'm pulling, I'm like, it took me several years to realize like, I'm probably doing something wrong.
Yeah, I think that's a lead climbing thing. Yeah. Like, you gotta like, yeah, you gotta be efficient. Yeah. Also, that means your skeleton has to be strong. Yeah. I'm a dangler.
So Kai, when obviously you've been climbing for like nearly 20 years, have you had a similar climbing style all of your life?
No, I think I just like kind of evolved to like my body. I feel like when I was a kid, I was very, very scrappy. Like I was like, get to the top, any means necessary. It's elbows, feet, knees, like whatever it took. And eventually I smoothed out as I learned how to climb. But I feel like as I've gotten taller, I've had to like be a lot more intentional with movement because like I should move a lot slower. Like,
and you're quite analytical. If you climb a climb and you think, oh, that was kind of ugly, do you repeat it to learn from it?
Oh yeah, I regularly repeat climbs because I think that the movement that I did didn't feel right or I didn't do that efficiently. It's about learning. Yeah. And also like, I feel like I want to climb my optimal best. And I feel like I had to really like thug it out as I feel like I didn't do what I was supposed to.
Yeah, Alex is the same. I think a lot of climbers can learn from that. And the fact they'll get up and they'll go, phew, not doing that again.
Why was it so hard for me? Like, did I do something wrong? Like, is there a sequence that I missed? Like, and that's why I get a little obsessed. Sometimes it's just like a skill that I'm not good at, but like, yeah, sometimes I'll be like, oh, I missed that heel hook or something. But yeah, there's usually something to learn when you really feel off. Because for as long as I've been climbing, I feel like my Rolodex of skill sets is like pretty wide. And so if it's out of my bounds and I'm like, I probably did something wrong, or it's just, yeah, not my style.
Nice. So I wanted to ask you, like, what was your experience like growing up in the climbing industry, and especially not having many role models that like looked like you growing up, and how did that feel? Did you notice it? What effect did that have on you?
I think, I don't know, I was always just very aware that I stood out. Like I remember being a kid and not thinking that it mattered until I went to my first competition and I realized, oh, like, I'm the only black person in this room. And it's one of those things where you would think that it wouldn't be so obvious, but it just was. Like I had never been in an environment before where I was the only person who looked like me. And so like it stood out. But immediately, like even when I was talking to the other kids my age, it was like, you know, it didn't matter. Nobody really cared. It was like, you like to climb, I like to climb, so let's just climb. And like, it was quickly an afterthought. I feel like for me, like things didn't start to get weird until I got older and a bit bigger and like started going outside climbing more, and like people don't realize that the places we like to outdoor rock climb are often situated in places that aren't, you know, the best in terms of like race relations. Like they've never seen a black person before.
Red River Gorge, like New Gorge, or the South, like
So I had a lot of awkward, really not great experiences where I was like, damn, like maybe I don't belong here, you know? But I think for me, like, it's just important to just be out there.
Yeah.
Because the more of us that look like me who are outside, like, it sets an example of like these spaces can exist for you.
Yeah. Be
You
shared
can find
with
a space.
everyone.
Exactly.
I think that's amazing, way to put it, where it's like you felt like, especially in the climbing scene, like with the kids and everyone, like growing up, you felt accepted in that. But honestly, it's like if you're white, like you can't physically, like I'll never know how it feels to like have, that same feeling as you.
I think it also shows, I mean, climbing was a much smaller sport when I started. And so respect, integrity, a lot of those things were like crucial to even just be in the community. And I feel like I was able to earn people's respect even if they didn't know anything about me, because I was a good climber, but I respected everybody else in their space. And I feel like as the sport gets bigger, it becomes a little bit harder to hold in that culture. But
Yeah.
I really do hope that like as the sport gets bigger, like we can create more spaces that are inclusive for everybody.
100%.
Because like I feel like I had to earn my way into it, but it'd be nice to be able to walk into a gym and be like, oh, there's plenty of people that look like me in here. Like I don't even stand out. Like I feel like it would deter less people from getting into the sport.
So going off of like everything that you just said, and like, wanting to make a change in this climbing industry, and hopefully, see, like being able to walk into a gym at some point and being like, oh, I'm like not the only one that looks like me, and not even it being a noticeable thing, like, a space where everyone feels welcomed. Like, I know you have your own nonprofit and you do a lot of charity work. Like, talk about like your company as well and the movements that you're making in this amazing industry.
Yeah, well, I just felt like I was in a really good position to create the spaces that I wanted to see in climbing, because I'm one of like really few people of color and really, really few black people who've like ever really entered the sport, yet alone like reached this level. And so I felt like, especially like during the Black Lives Matter movement and everyone was really invested in helping others, more black people, I felt like, well, this is the time, right? And so with Climate for Change, we've been super focused on just making the outdoors a more diverse and inclusive space in any way we can, whether that's sponsoring other people's events, whether that's offering grants and job opportunities, or doing consulting with businesses. It's like, I feel like the whole purpose is just trying to like make this work a lot more sustainable across the country.
Yeah.
Like, it can be really hard to find the funds and really hard to get the eyes on the product, on the projects. And so it's like, if I can just find different ways to like create these little ecosystems and like get more diverse people into the sport, I feel like that's what I'm trying to do.
I absolutely love that, and I think it's so important to have like, I mean, you inspire me to want to do more as well, and like just seeing you're 24, right? Like, I'm forgetting. It's like, it blows my mind that you're only 24, and you've done so much, and it's not even just like, you're such a good advocate for the sport. It's not even just like what you do on the wall. It's like what you do off the wall and all these things that like make you such a good role model for anyone of any gender, of any race, like, of anything. And that's like super awesome that you're doing all of this work. We're definitely gonna link Climbing for Change in the description below so that you guys can be a part of it as well. So I think that's like super awesome. But yeah, and everything you've done, even watching like your social channel, like in your Instagram, like that's not even where it stops. And I think you've just like scratched the surface of everything that you've already doing, and you keep on making movements and waves in this industry, which is like, it's really powerful. So I'm really appreciative for you to be in this industry. And like, even though I'm like over 10 years older than you, I like look up to you. Robin says the same thing. He's like, Kai is like my idol. And you don't understand how much like Robin references you to like so many people. He's like pound for pound, he is the strongest person like in the world. It's like, you're super impressed, best climber, so like even your finger stroke, everything. So like you are like inspiring so many people of everywhere in in this world.
Thank you. I don't know what to say to that.
Oh well, it's like,
you might look up to me because you're 5'3".
And you're funny as well. I do look up to you. I'm like, oh my God, power spotting. I'm like, please don't fall.
You said it, and I was like,
fall.
I don't know if this is a good idea.
I want a couple tips from you, some like secret sauce. Like, what is some of your top tips that you'd give people?
I think top tips I give people are like, always leave your mind open. I feel like it can be so easy to get mental blocks when you're trying something hard or above your level, but like putting things in context and realizing, yeah, this is my level. So I'm supposed to be learning, I'm supposed to be failing and like growing incrementally. Like it's okay to fail. I think that's a big one for me. And that took me a long time to get comfortable with. I don't know. I guess also stretch. Please. I'm like, the amount of times I see people climb things and it's like the difference is just if you can just get that one little foot up. Yeah.
You're looking to Robin directly that's behind the camera right now. Stretch. This is it. And again, like, and you're so good at the mobility part too, because static stretching, but then being able to like get it up, like strength through range of motion. I think, yeah, it's really important. So you're a great example, like I said already, for so many things. And I can't wait to be taken through one of your training days. If it's like, we might sport climb, might boulder, I don't know, but we are going to be tired. It's going to be fun. And it'll probably be hilarious having Robin and I do it. So
yeah, it's going to be a great time.
Yeah. But yeah, I hope everyone enjoyed this episode with Kai Lightner here. And please remember, if you like this and for more content, subscribe and like this episode.